begin to minister to that very spirit. You know, that's a key thing you got to do when you're walking after the Lord, is to listen to that spirit. Just do that. It gets you in bad places. I always tell this story. It's one of my favorite stories. A lady minister, she was, I'll have to describe her. She said she dressed like Joyce Meyer. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 90s. You know how that looks right there? Just picture that. If you don't know who that is, guys, young guys, probably don't need to know. Anyway, so just that's how she dressed. And she'd done a meeting, and she's walking down the street, and there was an occult bar. Everybody dressed in black, and black fingernails, everything. And the Lord said to her, go into that bar. Now, wait a minute. She said, here's what she tells her testimony. She says, Lord, I'm dressed like Joyce Meyer. I can't go in there, you know. And so the Lord wouldn't leave her alone. He says, you get in there. And so she walked up to this bar, and she said, all these young teenagers were outside, and they started pawing her, putting their hands on her, touching her hair. And she's like, Lord, please help me. So she went in the bar. The band was playing. As soon as she walked in, the band just stopped playing. Right. Looked at her. And she didn't know what to do. She said, now what, Lord? Because sometimes the Lord just asks you to be somewhere. Right. Doesn't tell you what to do. Right. Just tells you to be there. Gets you to California and says, be there, Pastor Regas. Then all this happens. You got to get there. So she gets in there and they all stare at her. She didn't know what to do. So she closed her eyes, she said. She started weeping. And when she did, she could hear their souls groaning. She said it sounded like whales. You know how whales sound? That's what she heard. And they were groaning. Right. And she said she just wept and wept. Didn't even want to look at them. She was so petrified of being in this bar. And then that was it. It lifted, and she left. And then she went to her hotel room and she said, Lord, why'd you make me do that? Right. That's embarrassing. You didn't give me a word to say. You just send me in there. And she really got upset with God for making her do that. Well, anyway, about 3-4 months later, she's preaching another service. And a young lady walks up to her and she says, ma'am, do you remember me? And she goes, honey, I pray for 1,000 people. I don't know who you are. She says, you came into this bar and named the city. She says, oh, yeah, I remember that. She goes, well, when you were standing there, light came off of you and it blinded me. And my friends had to take me home. And when I was at home, Jesus Christ came and visited me in the flesh. And he presented himself to me because I'm the high priestess of my covenant. And he visited me and I gave my life to him. And I want you to, I came here to testify to you that almost everybody in the covenant has been saved now. Hallelujah. And I want to thank you for coming into that bar.